conversation that's happening today in the sports media world, because it has to happen, because it is the sports media world, that people are saying, well, now that Aaron has said that he wants to play for the Jets publicly, and this is going to cause a bigger problem for the deal to get done between the Jets and Packers. I want to let you know that I think the Packers have no leverage really in this. Like, I guess the Jets have no leverage either, because if they don't get Aaron, they don't have a quarterback. They have Zach Wilson, but like, how does that affect the Packers at all? You know what I mean? Like, I think that the Packers have no leverage still, even after the conversation yesterday. How do you view it all, and how do you view the convo? And when does this get done, Greeny?
Well, so that is a good question. And of all the things of all the newsy pieces of your interview yesterday, the one that I was the most interested in was, AJ, when you asked him about whether how quickly he planned to be in there, and would he go to, all the mini camp stuff and, start working right now with new teammates, and not just learning a new system. Actually, he'll be teaching a new system. He knows it better than practically any of the players who are on the team. And he really kind of sidestepped that. And that's a big piece of this. I think look, I'm envisioning an Aaron Rodgers who wants to come and go on a scorched earth tour. The last time he felt wronged by anybody, he went on back-to-back MVP seasons, and that's how he seemed yesterday, and that's the Aaron Rodgers I want. I have volunteered to anger him as much as is necessary over the course of this season if I can. I need an angry Aaron Rodgers. So the point is, I think that the Jets' urgency in this is that I think it is clearly beneficial to them to get this wrapped up as quickly as possible so that he can be there and start working, and hopefully will want to do that as soon as possible. The advantage that the Packers have is that because we have already gone into the new league year, they had to budget in to their cap his number right now. So it's not costing them anything. And the reality is, if they want in exchange picks in this year's draft, they have until the end of April. If they're willing to live with picks not until next year's draft, then really the next pressure point in all of this is they save a bunch of money against their cap for reasons that I'm sure you guys know, and most of the people watching won't find that interesting. But just there are like these technical reasons why they would save a bunch of money against their cap if it doesn't happen until June 2nd. Yeah. Now, I'm telling you, I'm not going to make it to June 2nd. If this thing goes to June 2nd, you thought I was gone a long time last time. You won't see me for a while because I will be flat on my back. So we need this thing done long before that. But that's the advantage that they have in this. I think the Jets are much more urgent to make it happen than the Packers are. And actually, another of my favorite things about your interview yesterday, and I talked about it with Teddy Bruschi at length this morning on Get Up,
Teddy,
is the issue of what does an organization owe, what does a football franchise owe an all-time great? He said it really well on your show yesterday. You could debate whether he's the greatest Packer in history. He's certainly at the top, on the short list of the great ones with all the other names we know. And it is inarguable that he played there longer than anyone else ever has. When Tom Brady decided he wanted to leave New England after all those years, Kraft cleared the way for him. He said, you've earned that right to leave the way you want to leave. Do the Packers owe that to Aaron Rodgers? And we understand that there is a little more acrimony in that relationship than there was perhaps with Brady and Kraft.
Wow.
But
that was speculated too.
Well, I mean, whatever it is, it's obvious that they don't love each other. Like Kraft, Brady views Kraft like as a father figure. I don't think that Aaron, just the sense I get is he doesn't view Mark Murphy or Brian Gutekunst that way. And candidly, based upon the things he was saying to you, AJ, and using you as an example of how it has been unsatisfying and sometimes frustrating the way the great Packer players of recent vintage have left with bad tastes in their mouths. So does it behoove the Packers in any way, if this is what Rodgers wants, especially since, as he said, they're really the ones who decided it was time to sever the relationship, I'm not going to say you just give him away, because obviously he's an incredibly valuable asset. You can't do that.
Get something, but come on.
But to work with him a little. Exactly. It's a complicated issue, and I sort of see both sides of it.
So to Connor's point, he said it in there, and AJ, I apologize. I know you have something for Greeny, and you've been fucking 205. We're maybe going to do this in a noon hour. AJ was completely pissed.
Please don't.
But like the whole thought, though, about the unceremonious exits with everybody and everything like that. And you said that they have the $58 million, they can just sit on that or whatever. It's like they can't make any moves. They got $58 million sitting there. Like, that is a massive chunk of the thing. I don't understand why they won't just Just get a deal done. Like, just move on out. And to Connor's point, no owner there is much different than Kraft. And we've kind of experienced that the last couple off seasons. It was like, if an owner was there who is directly profiting from what Aaron Rodgers is doing, and he sees it as a business and like what he wants the team to look like and be like, which is in every other city but Green Bay. In this one, it's Mark Murphy, who's basically calling the shots, and Ted Turner was the previous one that brought Aaron in. So like his allegiances are almost like Mark Murphy's vision of what his Packers are will be through his guys that he ultimately brings in, is how he views it. So it's like, I think if they had a fucking owner.
I tried my best.
Dude, I know.
Yeah.
You're a shareholder.
I think that's an important point. And I would add to it that the difference between Mark Murphy or Ted Thompson before him and a guy like Bob Kraft or Woody Johnson or anyone else is that if this goes badly, Woody Johnson doesn't get fired. And if this goes badly, Mark Murphy does. So he has different interests in it. Woody Johnson is a billionaire. He was born a billionaire. There have been Q-tips a lot longer than he's been alive. So he doesn't have anything to be worried about in all of this. If it goes badly, his fans will be mad at him. But at the end of the day, his life isn't impacted. If Mark Murphy makes a decision, if Mark Murphy gives Aaron away, and Aaron wins a Super Bowl in New York, God willing, and Jordan Love is a bust, then Mark Murphy's job is in jeopardy. Brian Gutekunst's job is in jeopardy. People make those decisions. Woody Johnson has no check or balance on this, as don't any of the other owners. So I just think that's another layer to what you're saying, which I completely agree with.
Go ahead, AJ. Sorry about that.
Greeny, is there any chance you think that this deal falls through and he doesn't come to New York, the New York Jets? Can you even take yourself there to think that that's a possibility?
Oh, dude,
no.
Tough.
I mean, I refuse to acknowledge that as a possibility. And I just think at the end of the day, everyone wants it. Like I think the Packers want him to go, the Jets want him to come, Rodgers wants to go there. So everyone's interests are aligned. I think it's just a question of the timing, but I do not think in the end that it falls through complete. I think if I were to put the chances of, I can't say zero, but I would put them at, less than 1% chance of that happening.
Well, and they can put them as a post-June 1 designation. Yes. That has been done in the past, which you were referring to earlier. I believe Ty Schmidt has a question for you, Greeny.
I do, yeah. Not everyone's happy about this, Greeny, so let's pump the brakes right now. Okay, I know you have the rose-colored tint in your glasses because he's coming to your team, but some of us are really fucking hurting over here, okay? But in terms of if this is going to happen, I think we're all on the same page that it is going to happen at some point. Where does this rank in comparison to, say, like your Northwestern Wildcats go on a run to the Elite Eight this year?
That's a tough one. I mean, if you're giving me those two options, look, there is an allegiance that a person has to their alma mater. That school has been so good to me. There's a different kind of specialness, and those are kids. You get to know these kids, and when you get to be my age, which all of you will eventually someday,
hopefully,
you view these 19 and 20-year-old kids so differently. I mean, I have kids at that school. My daughter is older than most of the players on that team, so like I would just be so happy for them. With Rodgers coming to the Jets, I'm so happy for me. And that's different. And look, let's face it, you guys know me. I'm much more concerned about me than I am anybody else. So I guess I'll say that this is bigger. But it is. And can I just say one other thing to Ty Schmidt about this? Because you're upset about this, obviously, as a Packer fan, and I get it. But I would like to state that I am kind of mad at the Jet fans. I can't begin to tell you how much trepidation, what negativity I'm hearing from fans of the Jets. Oh, my God.
I have not heard any of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
not
no.
good. Not all good. I will show you go to my tweet.
What's the alternative?
Go to the Jet. Well, that's
sucking.
Not only is the alternative way, way, way worse. I don't curse on the air, all right? And I don't care what channel we're on here on YouTube. This is Aaron freaking Rodgers we are talking about. He has come to the Jets. He immediately becomes the best player the New York Jets have ever had. He's never going to be the greatest Jet of all time. He's going to retire as a Packer. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame as a Packer. And Joe Namath will always be number 12 as a Jet. That's fine. But the idea, Joe Namath has given his blessing to Aaron wearing the number 12. And I got Jet fans tweeting at me, Greeny, if they give him 12, I'm not rooting for them anymore. Well, shut up. What are you talking about? How did that become important to you if it's not important to Joe? We have tried everything else for 50 years, and we suck. We drafted quarterbacks in the top 3 twice in the last 5 years. One of them is bad, and the other one is literally the worst player ever. So you're not willing to try Aaron Rodgers because there's a potential downside to it? I'll take the one that has an upside that possibly winds up in the Super Bowl. We could have signed Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo, and we probably would have gone 10-7. And then in January, we'd wind up against Kansas City or Cincinnati or one of these guys with a stud. How do you say it? A dog. And we don't have. Well, now we got one. We walk into that building with a guy who thinks and has reason to think he's the best quarterback in that game, and every one of his teammates thinks that as well. So I'm down on the Jet fans who are deciding this is a bad idea. I don't understand where the hell they're coming from.